So here we are. I was supposed to do this a week ago. Mother Nature kind of had a different idea and wiped out our power for a week, so it didn't happen. But we're back, and I am going to do the tutorial on how to do a Pez head in TinkerCAD. So let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to TinkerCAD. And here's the original edit. And we'll tinker that. Now I'm going to start from scratch. Somewhat. I'm not going to completely start from scratch because I'm not going to sit here and import. Because, just so you know, this is a very long import to get him in here. The first thing I did was import, obviously, Joe, not Joel, Joe, and the blank, my knockout, which will come in as a solid. Okay, so you need these two things, and then you're going to use a bunch of knockout blocks. Now the first thing I did was take a negative block and slide it under Joel and basically cut his head off. So you take that, you slide it in there, get it positioned where you want it. Alright, we got to go up a little, you got to grab this little arrow here, get the height you want. Right around there looks good. And basically select both the negative block and Joe and cut Joe's body off. So we have a head. It'll take a second and it calculates it out, and there we go, we have a Joe head. Joe head! Now we take the knockout and Joe's head and we kind of line them up on each other. I want that thing. Just want those two. And we'll use the alignment tool and we'll align it here so it's on the center. And that's about it for the alignment tool. I'm going to take that, I'm going to kind of zoom in, and I'm going to try and get this face here as flush as I can with the bottom of Joe. And it looks like it goes a little too far at 22, so let's try 21.5. Tab. That's not enough. So 21.75. Tab. Alright, it looks like it's connecting now. Now that bottom lip, again, of that, of the knockout is the actual bottom or top of the actual Pez dispenser. So you want to have it as close to flush as you can. And of course I just lost my whole lineup, but that's alright. And then you kind of want to bury it in his head. And I'll have to realign it. And of course with the recording everything's slow. Getting a little lag on the computer because of the recording, but I'll get over that. And then we'll just realign that to make sure it's still aligned with his head. Just right here in the center. So it's dead center on it. That all looks pretty good. Again, you want this block pretty much cutting out the back of his, head or whatever. Let's turn that into a hole so it'll knock out. And then combine them. So you select them both, come up here to combine, and it should, in theory, give you a knockout. And there you go. It's all knocked out. See, now you got all the parts and tools and the hinging and everything all built right into little Joe's head. Now, obviously it's not going to work great because there's all this material around here. So the next thing I do is block out some of this right here. See all this stuff in the back here? As the head swings, it would hit the actual candy dispenser. So we're going to take out all that stuff in the back, and again, all you do is use a negative block. And you line it up about like that. And you look and make sure it's doing what you want. And that's about right. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And you're just cutting out the back of his head a little bit. And you could actually go all the way up. Going all the way up might not be bad if you wanted to lay him down flat. It would make the actual spring hinge and the candy pusher little rod stronger. But I don't like doing that. So anyways, I am going to combine those two. And then I'll knock out all that crap in the back. So now we have a free swing. And that's all clear. The only else I kind of want to do is I want to get rid of these little tabs. They would probably work, but yeah, let's get rid of them. And you just kind of match that. If you look in here, I'm just trying to match this arc a little bit. It doesn't have to be exact. I'll actually use the arrow here and push it up. And then see how it's a little too much? See how it's like dark green and kind of freaking out a little bit? So what I'll do is just pull this back, and that should change the arc a little bit. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, as long as it clears that arc. You don't want anything sticking out beyond that arc. If you take a little off of it, not going to hurt anything. It's still going to clear the candy dispenser. So let's do it again. Let's combine them. Oops, something didn't work. Let's combine them. And then I'll knock out the back arc. And that looks pretty good. And the only thing else I want to do, I don't really like this all flat here on the bottom. Looks kind of funny on the candy dispenser. So I take these two, so I can move them around. I don't know why it does that. Why is it shooting off into the Great Netherlands? Come back here. Alright. Now that it's back to where I want it, I will line it up somewhat with JOE PEZ here. And then I'm actually going to use the alignment tool and align it to the center and letting it do it. And use the alignment tool and align it to the center. And then I think that's about it. You can align it to the center here to make sure it catches all of that. And I think I'm going to drop it down in a little, or just leave it. Just cutting off a little bit of the shoulders, making it not so gnarly. Let's drop it down a little. See if we can take some more off without taking his ears off. Oh, see? Now if you look, you get this darker color here. That's telling you you're cutting into the ears. And right about there, it's still just touching the ears, but I don't think you'll notice it. And it don't look too bad. So let's combine them again, and then I'll cut the little wings off, cut his shoulders off this thing, and make it look less flat. And there you go. You have JOE PEZ all ready for printing, and that's pretty much that. Now it's pretty much that, and you just export it. Export. Choose your type. Obviously, if you're 3D printing, STL is the preferable file format. And there you go. There he is! JOE PEZ head. This is a really nice filament, and I gotta brag about it, because it really is a nice filament. Here, let's get it where you can see it. This is Paramount 3D's Black Cherry Red PLA. This stuff is awesome. The color is just beautiful. So let's get them off. That was easy. Alright. And once again, we have to break away the supports to get to the tabs without damaging anything, which is one of the harder things of this whole project. And again, I've used concentric supports, so generally it comes apart a little easier and supports a little better, and we'll find out if I break it or if it just pops off like it likes to do sometimes. And it just popped off. That is sweet. One big piece just popped right off. So there we go. JOE Pez head all ready to go to mount up. Hi. So snapped on there, and there you have it. There is JOE Pez. JOE Pez. You've been Pez, Joe. This filament, I love this color. Again, Paramount 3D, Black Cherry, PLA. Awesome stuff. So there you have it. Another JOE Pez. The only thing I got left to do is I have a little tip and trick on actually slicing it and getting it good. Getting a good print out of it. It's not hard. Anybody should be able to print it, but I have a few little things I do. I've also updated the blank to make your own. There's some slight changes in the way it functions. It actually snaps a little better. They're very slight changes, but it actually increased the action of the head a lot better than the last one. So if you've downloaded my Pez blank, look for the version 4. Version 4 is the latest, greatest. It's a little bit easier. It's not quite as tight, but it's not too loose. And the spring and everything is a little tighter. So there you go. Enjoy. Have a Pez.